when you are at the airport for the first time and see an Airbus A380 up close while taxiing, many people will stop subconsciously. Not because it's pretty, but because it's so unlike an airplane. It's more like a building on the ground, a slow-moving 8-story building. The wings spread out to cover almost half a football field. It stand in front of it, and you may even feel a subtle unease. Can this thing really fly? As the largest civilian airliner in aviation history, the A380 has a maximum takeoff weight of up to 575 tons. You may not feel much about this number. Let's put it another way. It is equivalent to 200 adult African elephants. Such a steel giant just starting to move already challenges physical intuition, but even more outrageous is it can actually fly. When the A380 accelerates to 315 kilometers per hour on the runway, this speed is approaching that of an F1 car. At this point, the wing cuts into the airflow with a specific curved shape, forcing the air downward. According to Newton's third law, air pushed downward will in turn give the plane an equal upward force. At the same time, the curvature of the upper surface of the wing accelerates the airflow, further lifting the fuselage through pressure differences. Finally, this seemingly elegant aerodynamic system forces the weight of 200 African elephants off the ground. So, a steel building that was supposed to stay on the ground rises into the sky. What really makes the A380 look intimidating is not that it can fly, but how much it costs to fly. Take Guangzhou to Sydney as an example. The basic operating cost of a one-way, a 380 flight, is as high as 1.37 million RMB. 4 engines, with nearly 70,000 pounds of thrust, consume 12 to 13 tons of jet fuel per hour. Fuel alone is close to 700,000 RMB, plus high maintenance costs, airport fees, and approximately 500,000 RMB in depreciation per flight. The A380 becomes a true money-consuming machine. In other words, as long as the seats are not fully sold, every flight may result in a loss, and money is only half the problem. The A380 is extremely demanding when it comes to airports, almost to the point of harshness due to its size. It requires reinforced runways, dedicated taxiways, and double-deck boarding bridges. Only a limited number of airports actually meet these requirements. What does that mean? It means that once the A380 encounters bad weather or a mechanical issue and needs to divert, there are very few available airports. Scheduling becomes extremely difficult. Industry estimates show that a single unplanned diversion may cost more than $300,000. It is not only expensive, but also leaves almost no room for error. Finally, this engineering marvel still lost to commercial reality. The A380 was built for a hub-to-hub super passenger flow model. The logic of this model is to concentrate large numbers of passengers at a few major airports and then transport them using giant aircraft. But the market chose another path. Twin-engine wide-body aircraft, such as the Boeing 787, pushed point-to-point direct flights, which are more fuel-efficient and flexible and easier to fill. In December 2022, China, Southern Airlines last, A380S took off and flew to storage in the Mojave Desert in the United States. This aircraft, which once surpassed the Boeing 747 and dominated long-haul aviation, finally ended its journey in the desert. If you describe the fate of the A380 in one sentence, it is not weak but strong and out of place. In simple terms, operating an A380 is like driving a heavy main battle tank in the city center just to buy groceries. Performance is overwhelming. The presence is unmatched. But the fuel consumption is terrifying. Every turn must be calculated. There are only a few places where it can operate, and once you go the wrong way, the cost of correcting it may be enough to buy a new car. This is the A380, the most brilliant and lonely giant in aviation history.